Don't hear a. There you go.
Recording is in progress, sir.
Calling to order the April 12th, 2022 meeting of the Katuitt Fire District Board of Fire Commissioners. We'll start with roll. Present, Commissioner Pisano.
Commissioner Conley,
Zais,
And Chief Brown.
Fire Chief Brown present.
First, open public comment. Do we have anything pending on public comment?
I do not have anything in the chat and I have not received any emails.
Very good. We'll proceed to review and approval of previous meeting minutes. Have both of you had a chance to look at that?
yes,
yes, sir.
Good.
No issues.
I saw one, I didn't write down the line reference, Chief, but at one point, there was a discussion about posting to SharePoint, and it was written as posting to something called Fairpoint. It just needs to be changed. Everything else seemed in order to me.
well, SharePoint is only fair, so.
Well,
You couldn't let that go, could you, Adam? You just
No.
had to pick it up.
I've been in software for 40 years. It's the joke's gotta keep coming.
okay. Having leapt that hurdle, I would accept a motion to accept the meetings as printed with that one editorial change.
As stated,
Second,
Moved and seconded, all in favor. Pisano, approve.
Zais,
Okey-doke. Next item up is the chief's report. Chief, you want to begin by walking us through monthly activities?
Sure, the 53 total responses for the month of March, one building fire, I believe that was the mutual aid to Marston's Mills, 40 EMS, one hazardous condition, 5 service calls, 1 good intent, and 5 false alarms.
You can just go ahead, write down the
Okay,
list.
right
We'll
through.
just,
Okay,
Yep.
very good. Under personnel, the new fire chief, myself, started April 4th, 2022. And we had a swearing-in ceremony on April 7th, 2022. The draft deputy chief job posting is done. I have it here available and I can share my screen if you choose and go over that with you. It's also in your SharePoint folder as well.
yeah, I had a chance to look at it in the SharePoint folder. Have the two of you had a chance to see it?
when I was in there this morning, I did
This is
not.
all recently posted. It's
Oh.
just been this afternoon.
Okay, so I have not. Chief, if you want to share, that'd be great, or, okay,
Okay.
I have reviewed it.
Are you seeing it?
yes.
It's come up fine.
Okay, I'll try to scroll down so you can see the majority of it here, and then when you're ready to go down through that, let me know.
I personally didn't have any problems or additions with it. It looks fine. While Adam has a chance to look at it, Kevin, do you remember where we posted the job description for the chief's position?
Oh, Chief, thank you. Keep scrolling, that'd be great.
I don't. I can go through some paperwork, Commissioner. I don't though. I think it did. I think it actually did end up on a couple of boards, although we didn't put it there. I think it ended up on LinkedIn and somewhere else. No, I don't. I'll have to check where we put, I'll have to see what I can find.
Okay, when you find that, if you could forward that to the chief, would ask you, Chief, to just go ahead and post it, assuming Adam doesn't have any problem with
Yeah,
it
no,
as he reviews it.
I've read down to the end of applying. Is that the end of the doc?
Yes, that is the end of it right there.
Okay. Yeah, no, reads fine upon that first read.
Very good.
I'm assuming you all went through or Kevin, since you had a chance to think about it, and Rick, I'll let you, I don't have any comments. If you have any comments, please let me know.
As I said, I had none. It seemed fine. It covered everything that we've talked about in previous conversations about the position, and the additions that Chief Brown put in are all very appropriate for our prior discussions. So
Yeah, I
I would
agree.
be,
Yeah, I agree. And I think the timing of getting responses back is appropriate as well, providing we're able to, get that information over the next couple of days and get it posted.
What are the thoughts about how the applications will be reviewed?
well, I think that in this case, I would like to
We're
turn
just
that
gonna-
primarily to the chief.
We're just gonna have the chief do it, right? Okay.
That would have been my thought.
I think I think that's absolutely the case. If the chief chooses to, ask us, one of us, both, all of us to, take a look at something, I think that would be obviously appropriate. Ultimately, the chief does have to bring the candidate to the full board. And I
Sure.
think that's where we'll have the opportunity to have any additional questions or have any questions or interaction or response relative. to
Great,
it.
as it is, I think that'll streamline the process.
Very good. I will review the applications and continue to work with the board to get you the information on all the applicants.
Do we want to look at a top 2 or 3, or are we content to have the chief bring his preferred choice candidate to us first?
I'm gonna hop in real quick there. I personally think this is the chief's call. This person is gonna be working directly for the chief. So I will defer to him. I would defer to him as far as who he would like to bring forward.
Yeah, I'd rather that we see who he thinks is the finalist.
That's fine by me. I just wanted it clarified. Thank you. Chief, under administration, I wanted to ask, do we have any further clarification about the need for a contract with Pay Forward, is it?
Yeah, the IT supplier.
I would have to get back to you on that, Mr. Chairman. I'm not familiar with the background on that, sir.
The reason I'm asking, guys, is do you remember,
Yep.
I think this is also
Didn't Ray
Uh,
ask for
the-
this?
in,
Didn't Ray ask for this?
yeah, but I was confused because it came through talking about Pay Forward, and that's not the business name that I remembered. I thought it was Cape Forward.
That
Was
might
the
be-
internet service consultant?
Right, maybe it's a misstatement or a misspelling.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. Chief, did Lisa leave already?
No, Lisa is still here.
What's the question?
I'm trying to find out what the status is of the request to get a formal contract for our use of, I thought it was Cape Forward, but in the email, it came up as Pay Forward.
Yeah, it's not
Which-
paid for it.
Good.
I don't have the name in front of me. You might be right, Cape Forward. It's the person who also helps Barnstable with tech stuff. Is this the
Right,
the
yeah.
one you're talking about?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't have that in front of me. It's been at least a month or so. We have paid them.
Uh-huh.
So I can get back to you with that information and email that to you. if you want. I'm not sure what the question is though at this point.
It was left that we were supposed to try to draw up the draft of a contract for services with them.
Right.
Okay.
And I had asked for whatever you and Ray could provide by way of a structure for what that's supposed to look like. We had a discussion last month about it. Oh, that's where it was described as pay forward in that transcript.
Yeah.
And it should be Cape forward. And we spoke about discretionary amounts for the chief in terms of contracting. We had always kind of gone with the $5,000 number, and we agreed to continue with that. And I didn't know if our services with Cape Forward were even going to exceed that, but Ray wanted, I think, for the auditors, us to have some kind of formal contract. We did agree that if expenses started to get close to that limit, that everything would be brought before all three of us at a meeting to make sure that it was approved as we go. But I haven't heard any more about drafting such a contract. So I'm just trying to figure out who to prod about it.
All right, well, that would, I'll be glad to follow up on that now that I'm here, now that I understand what it is that we're discussing. And I can certainly report back to you at the next meeting on that. And give you an update on that now that I understand the context of the conversation.
Terrific. Thank you.
Yep.
I received a notice today from the law firm of John Clifford that we're using on a monthly retainer basis with specializing in labor law. Kevin, you've had a lot of interaction with the office through the drafting the contract and things. We just received a rate increase notice. They are increasing the hourly billing rate to $225 an hour for their services. I think they had been at 200 previously. This does not, according to the notice, interfere with the monthly retainer contract that we have with them, but it would apply for additional services that exceed that retainer base amount. I don't know that there's anything for us to do about it, but I wanted to notify both of you since I didn't see anybody else on the notice list for this.
So I appreciate the insight into that. I will tell you, I thought that they were extremely responsive when I worked with them relative to some of the work with the chief and the process. So, you know, it is, I understand. So I get that it's an increase. I just wanted to make a comment that they were very responsible when I worked with them.
Chief, have you had occasion to have an introduction to them yet?
No, sir, I have not.
Right. Kevin, since you've had a lot of recent contact with them, if you could bridge that and have Chief have maybe just a brief phone introduction or something to Clifford, and let you know that they would be available as you proceed with the deputy chief position if questions arise, contract terms, whatever, that they would be available for you to use. And Clifford can explain the retainer basis and such to you that we've been operating under.
Thank you.
I have that. I'll take care of that.
Great, thanks very much. Again, under administration, I was reviewing the most recent list of invoices that were appended to the ongoing I don't even know what to call that spreadsheet. Previously, we were getting segregated within the month compilations of invoices posted to the commissioners for our review. We didn't get any of those in the past couple of weeks, but the recent stuff has been appended to the ongoing accumulative one for the fiscal year. It's in SharePoint in the date. I think that's a running database, or maybe it's a spreadsheet. Oh, it's a spreadsheet. I found it in Excel.
Usually they will be CC to them
Okay.
when they're sent to me.
All right, I will CC the commissioners on it's a PDF of the warrants for that batch, for that AP batch.
Yes.
And we sent it to Lisa. I sent it to Lisa only.
Yeah.
So I will add the board onto that email distro
And they also like the payroll as well.
and the payroll. And the payroll.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't
Yes, we would like both of those, right?
Yep.
Good. Because customarily, we had a chance to review them during the month ahead of the meeting. So if any questions arise, we're able to address them at the meeting. In line with which, there were 3 charges, March 21st, 22nd, and just the other day, April, or today, I guess, April 12th, I think it was, having to do with monitors and the programming of monitors for the security system. And this has been an ongoing topic under administration about getting the security cameras hooked up to in-house monitors for the duty crew to be able to have access to them all, for you to have access, for a deputy chief to have access. Currently, they were, or as of our last month's meeting, they were only hooked up to, it was dispatch, had access to monitor it, and we wanted the in-house monitors up and running, and I don't know what the status of that is.
So the pilot monitor, if you will, has been installed in the company officer's office. It seems to be working well, so we ordered the required additional components to finish that project, or expand that project, I should say, to the day room area, as well as some additional monitors for informational purposes for the folks on duty to share information, kind of a dashboard, if you will. Once that's done, we'll explore the additional areas that may need them in the firehouse, as well as any requirements for additional camera coverage. We're very fortunate that the Pete Emerson and firefighter Emerson and the folks on duty have been stepping up and doing this and doing the install and expansion. So I'm appreciative of their efforts. And that project is making progress.
What is the current coverage of those video cameras?
It's the partial views of the upstairs apparatus bay and the partial views of the ramps, the exterior ramps. So I think once we get these cameras installed and everybody has a chance to look at what they're seeing, and I'll look to add cameras to increase that coverage so that we have full view of the ramps, the front aprons, as well as the apparatus base.
Okay.
If you could pass on our appreciation to firefighter Emerson and all those that worked on that, we really appreciate that. That was above and beyond work that they did. So please, again, express our appreciation.
I'll do that, Commissioner. Thank you.
Absolutely. Chief, under training, are there any additional training scheduled coming up? And there was one scheduled since our last meeting. I was unable to attend. I think Commissioner Conley was able to make it. I don't know if Commissioner Zace did.
I was off Cape. I was off Cape.
So, yeah, the majority of the personnel were able to go through the SCBA competence course or the entanglement prop, and that was spearheaded by Lieutenant McNamara and his crew. The props, I believe the prop went back to Centerville this last week, and we are working on training objectives. We had an officers meeting recently, yesterday, And we started to identify training objectives monthly and quarterly. So there'll be additional training objectives that we'll have out there shortly, and we'll make the board aware of those. And as always, the open invitation to come and see what everybody's doing.
Okay.
I was sorry I couldn't make the last one, but I look forward to the upcomings. Back to the chief's report, if there's nothing else on these, apparatus. I understood the boat repairs were complete. Have we gotten the boat back?
Yep, the boat arrived back today. The repairs are complete. We do not have a total cost yet. It's somewhere around the $7,500 range. The business office was closed when the boat was picked up. So I'm sure they'll find us with an invoice though.
Hey, Chief,
Do you
what were the actual repairs, if I may? There may have been some winterization and so forth, but what were the repairs? Do you know?
I do not have the itemized list. My understanding is everything that was requested and required was completed, but unfortunately, we weren't able to access that itemized list.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
But I will add that on to the agenda for next month and go over exactly what was done. Yeah, the next meeting, and then we'll make sure everybody's aware of that and has visibility on it.
I wanted to ask you two questions in that regard. Is the boat ready for launch?
That is my understanding, is ready for launch. Yes.
So it came back bottom painted, et cetera. Okay. And the other question didn't concern the boat. Is there anything else about the boat?
No, sir.
The
So
other
I-
question in
I think,
apparatus.
I think if I may, real quick, I did talk to the chief today about this. I think there's some conversations that have to take place about exactly where the boat is going, right? Verifying our dockage. And I did suggest to the chief that he contact Chief Rude to see if he can get some details on what plans had been made. Because I'm not sure that the dock next to the dock is available this year. So I do think we have a little bit of the chief actually, I'll help whatever I can, chief, obviously. I think we have a little bit of work to do there to make sure we have the boat where it has to be available.
Well, that's an important point. I had thought, and I guess I was mistaken. I thought we had reached a multi-year agreement
Chief,
before last season, but I realized I never saw a document about it, so I don't know. But yes,
you may be absolutely right. I just wanted to mention to the chief today. I wanted to bring it up here to make sure that it was, everybody knew about. There was some conversation, had to verify. We may be all good. I'd rather raise the subject down, we're all good, and then move on.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Very
I'll,
good.
I'll work to validate that. I do have a little bit of information that I've since received just now about mooring, although I don't know if that mooring fee also includes the dock space as well. So, but I do have some information to chase down now, and I will chase that to ground. So.
The district does have a mooring not too far off the dock, but the dock that we've been using is one adjacent to the town dock that
Okay.
gives us immediate access.
Yep.
And that was a separate negotiated fee contract. And yeah, former Chief Rude had done all that and would be, if you can get a hold of him, he should have all that information to help you get started on it.
Thank you.
The other question I had in regard to apparatus was the status of the radios. As of last month, we had 20 of them were linked in and programmed. And have any more been done? I know that the whole Cape has been sitting on their hands waiting for chips to arrive to bring all the radios, the new digital radios online. Do you have any knowledge of where we stand with that.
I do not believe there's been any additional progress on that project since the last meeting. The project manager has been out of pocket at the moment, and but I have every confidence that that you'll be seen through to the end, and everything will get put online.
Okay.
I didn't have anything else under apparatus. Moving on to facilities.
A excuse me, real quick on apparatus, I think just so it's on the table, and maybe we had this already, but the deputy chief's car has arrived, correct?
Yeah, the deputy chief's car has arrived. The plate switch is scheduled for Thursday, the 14th.
Okay,
Once the title and, once the registration plates have been swapped over, the vehicle will be available for use. Still need to be lettered and still need to have the command box installed, but to have its, full functionality. But as far as an ability to be utilized as a vehicle and some limited command capabilities, it will be ready on Thursday, should be ready on Thursday.
okay, and thank you. And Rick, I think, was there some arrangements we had agreed on relative to the old deputy chief's car?
Yes, as of the discussion last year, when the funds were authorized for this, the intent was to have the old deputy's car donated to, I think it was West Barnstable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that,
And as far as I know, that arrangement stands.
yeah, I did speak with the deputy chief of West Barnstable. They are still interested, willing and able to receive the vehicle. I will have to get caught up and familiarize myself with the excess property process of the district, which I don't have visibility on that yet as far as the required documentation, but I'll get that. And once everything's done, we'll do the appropriate paperwork and get that transferred over.
Do we have any knowledge on this call right now and who might have that information on the excess property? Would that be, would Fran have some of that info, do you think, or anybody else in the village?
Fran, Charlie, Ray.
Charlie might be a good idea. You're absolutely right about that. Yep. I'm just trying to make it a little bit easy for the chief. If we have some knowledge, let's, pass it on.
Ray should have the all the necessary forms or know how to print them up
Okay.
quickly. Chief Rude had handled this kind of thing in the past. So if you're going to contact him about the boat contract, he might be a good person to just tap on that as well, at least to get you started.
All right, thank you.
The last thing I had for facilities was the status of the floors. I know Ideal Flooring was supposed to come in and take a look. I had a conversation with Chief Small. He said that there was some argument about their liability for the problem. It was recommended that we get those floor mats for chairs under the desks. And I did not get a final word from him about the status of both repair and prevention.
So from the prevention standpoint, we do have the floor mats for the desk chairs now. The opinion of the vendor was that the grade of flooring that we spec'd was more residential and not industrial and designed to stand up to the wear and tear 24/7 use of the fire service. So that being said, I have been unable to validate that. I have not put eyes yet on the invoices, the bid specs, all of that to see if in fact what we installed, what was installed met our contract and specs. So that information I just got maybe yesterday or Friday, so I haven't had time to chase down the invoice to see if it matched with what we received.
Okay. Before we move off of the chief's report, I just want to offer my deepest sympathy to you, chief. I can only imagine how fast the to-do list is growing in your first week on the job.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's not mine.
No, it's all stuff that we'll work through. The folks here have been incredible. Everybody is stepping up big time and offering to help. So I don't think this is going to be a challenge. So or a big challenge. It won't be a big challenge.
And be careful how you word that, chief.
Yeah, right.
So and it's all sticky notes. I think the chief's a sticky note guy, so we'll see them come off as they go on, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You can tell the status of things by the coloration
Yeah.
around the monitor, huh? All right. Moving on to other business. There is a listed discussion of the capital request for a new ambulance in this year's coming fiscal year's warrants. I had a discussion with both Chief Small and Chief Brown about the whole process of this, and took.
Commissioner, I apologize. Can, and maybe I missed it. Did we review personnel in the chief's report? Was there any
Nope,
open issue?
Other than the deputy chief position, no.
Nothing. Okay, so nothing else there to talk about. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Did we miss anything, chief?
We had a couple of outstanding items with the IFF local. And I wasn't sure with the appropriate place in the meeting to bring those up.
Well, let's cover that now, because you're right. I have it written down and missed it. To determine where we are with this, I had tried to contact the union and hadn't heard back from them about the status of some of these issues. I think we should schedule an interim meeting of the board to go into executive session to re-examine the two areas, determine current status, and recommend a course of action.
That would,
That's fine. Any further, I mean, any greater details of what we're talking about?
There were two outstanding matters from last fall that
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
that have kind of
Have not resolved.
hung in limbo, and I haven't gotten any further clarification back from the union. So to have a discussion of this, I would like to get a meeting scheduled perhaps for next week. The Zoom should be available either the 18th, 19th, or 21st. The only meeting I saw scheduled for next week already was the water commissioners on Wednesday, the 20th. So if any of the other three evenings we could.
If I could request, we shoot for a week from today, the 19th.
I have a potential, oh, not potential, I have what time is I have an evening conflict.
What time frame would work for you on the 19th?
Anything but like our normal time, which is 5:30. I've got something to do at 5:30.
Okay.
So did you say the 18th, Rick, works as well?
Yeah, the 18th, 19th, and 21st, I didn't see any meetings scheduled, so the Zoom account should be free.
How about the I would ask, how about the 18th?
Is there any concerns with the holiday on the 18th?
Oh, that's right. The 18th
Easter
is
Monday
Patriots
is
Day.
Patriots Day. The 21st is perfect for me. It sounds like it might not be for Kevin.
I'll figure it out. It's not ideal, but I can figure it out if that's the date that works. So let's go with that.
Adam, your
5:30?
evening thing on the 19th, how late would it go? Would you be free after it, or is it going to eat the rest of your
Oh,
evening?
it's a dinner thing. So it's,
Oh, okay.
sorry.
So the
All right, go. Get
21st,
fitted.
21st at
Yeah, the
5:30.
21st, 5:30.
Perfect.
Chief, are you okay? We've been talking about ourselves. Chief, does that work on your end?
Yep, that works perfectly fine.
Thank you.
April 21st, Thursday. And that was at 5:30, correct?
Correct.
And this is an exec session. Do we want to meet? Or do you just want to do it on Zoom?
It's
Yeah.
up to all you.
Well, we have to have the Zoom available regardless. So, oh, no, wait.
To go into executive session.
Yeah.
You want to check the Freedom Hall schedule.
Is that what you're saying, Rick?
I would prefer to do it on Zoom. I'm in a
Okay.
circumstance now where I'm masking almost continuously in any kind of
Yeah.
Oh, good.
public format. So
Okay.
it's a lot easier for me.
So Thursday, the 21st at 5:30 via Zoom.
Very good. And Chief, if you can post a meeting notice with the town for that time and copy it to, is Fran handling scheduling for Freedom Hall now?
She is posting it to Freedom Hall, but I will show Chief how to post it to the website and to Zoom.
Oh, great. Terrific.
Trying to
So,
find.
and the agenda just, well, I'll dig out the wording for the open meeting law article that covers it, but it'll be basically just executive session. And I'll give you the header for which OML we're using.
All right. Sounds good. I'd appreciate, yeah, that template language, and then I will get that posted.
Good. Now back to the ambulance status. After my conversation with both Chief Brown and Chief Small, I was persuaded that it would be very much to our best interest to not try to roll out the warrant for the capital expenditure for a new ambulance. It is listed to have been put on for the coming fiscal year, the 23rd, in our capital budget plan. We had discussed the possibility of could we postpone it? What persuaded me that would probably not be a good idea, Chief, feel free to jump in on this, but the lag time in availability and ordering for such things is dragging out further and further, as well as the inflationary pressures are going to drive up the price point the longer we wait. If we get the authorization, we would have the option to spec and order something, recognizing that it's very unlikely we would see it until well into fiscal 24. So it would make, that would be the couple of years additional use that we were hoping to squeeze out of the existent vehicle and supplement it with the, getting a spare ambulance available or a second ambulance available. So I wanted to bring that to the two of you for discussion because I want to request that warrant be drawn up for the coming annual meeting.
Where does the conversation stand around looking at leasing versus buying? That's one question. And two, if it's a buy, I don't remember what the answer to this was. Can the district sort of accrue funds across different fiscal years for such a capital expenditure? You don't have to answer it. It may not be answerable in this forum, but
Yeah. In all the years I've watched the warrants, which is now 10 plus years, I've not seen that format for the fire department. I think
I mean, it may not
one
be-
of the major capital expenditures for the water department was broken out over a series, but it was because the project allowed for
Right.
staging over time. So
I had-
that,
you know,
but
I had a
we can
feeling that might be
look into that.
because it falls under all different kinds of guidelines for procurement and so forth. So
Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
it's not really something that is inherently splittable, so to speak.
Adam, I think you raised a great point on the leasing conversation, and I think it's something we should think about. Chief, do you have a position relative to leasing, or do we have a position? I know Commissioner Pizzano, we've talked about this a little bit. Where are we at with that?
I have not explored leasing the ambulance since I've been here. I could certainly explore that. I know my
No,
prior,
no, I get that. I apologize, Richard. In the past, have you ever leased an ambulance in your past life?
no, we explored leasing in my past life, and ultimately at the end of the day, although there are pros and cons to either way, we felt that the leasing was not the best option for in a full picture. That was for fire apparatus. I've not looked at an ambulance. We've looked at fire apparatus, fire engines, aerials, things of that nature. I've not looked at leasing an ambulance, but on the fire apparatus side, it was not ultimately it was not advantageous for us to go for my prior employer to go down
No,
that.
got it. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I know, Rick, there was some conversation I think Ray had that he didn't believe in leasing or didn't think it would be beneficial. Or am I misthinking that, or am I off on that?
I seem to recall that sort of mindset being stated as well, Kevin. I don't know. It's possibly because, if you're doing the math, maybe the depreciation expense is more valuable to the district than the leasing, the cost of leasing, which is operations. So I do think, however, we should strongly look into it.
Right, and that's why I was wondering, Rick, did you have that? I thought that did that come up with Ray yet? Or have we had that conversation with Ray on that?
I'm trying to recall when we opened that conversation with Ray, because I do recall him in the general question of leasing, not feeling like it was good financially for the district, because the lease usually is a time structured arrangement, and it.
Yeah, well, it's not a capital purchase, so there's no associated, underwriting, potential value, and the certainly the depreciation expense that goes along with that. I do understand that mindset. I just think from a standpoint of being nimble, maybe, and not knowing the future, maybe leasing is better. May not be.
It's something that we ought to at least take a run at looking at. Chief, what was the outfit that has become kind of the regional main vendor in at least eastern Massachusetts. Aren't they on the South Shore?
Foxborough.
used-
Oh, Foxborough?
For
Again, Kevin?
I think they're in Foxborough, aren't they?
Yeah,
Allegiance,
that's,
Allegiance for the fire apparatus, and then I've used Sugarloaf for ambulances mostly. I don't have much experience with ambulance vendors on the South Shore yet, but I will soon.
Sugarloaf is the name that rings a bell. I think they've become kind of the go-to outfit. So that would certainly be a worthwhile first call to just find out what, if any, leasing options they have available. It's just my concern, other than the financing part, are the mechanics of it. Because for a really well-equipped ALS vehicle, we have to install an awful lot of our own equipment.
Well, I think if people are leasing ambulances and there's got to be a context for that, I do it's not like leasing just a Lexus. You drive it as is. Yeah, you have to install things. It's the model of use completely different than a car.
Yeah,
But
and I could imagine leasing being a more feasible option for an ambulance service that is A, running a fleet, and B, has a lot of vehicles that are just BLS grade that require a lot less customization.
yeah, no, I wasn't putting this forward as I have a point of view. It's just I think we ought to investigate, and if it turns out, like Chief just said, Concord FD said, no, that's not the way for us to go. Here at Katuitt FD, interesting that it's both a CFD. Just noticed that.
It helps
All of
with
his
labeling a
uniform
lot of
monograms still work.
Right. So, yeah, people around town have asked me, so I'm asking us. So,
valid questions. I'll definitely, like I said, I don't have much experience with the ambulance side of leasing, but I will look into it and I will report back to you on that. So,
since we're on the topic of ambulances, where do your thoughts stand on potentially equipping one of the fire apparatus as a backup ambulance, or is that a topic that we don't need to go into now?
If I may just real quick comment on that, and then that is, Chief, you might want to check with Chief Burke relative to how they've handled the things in Sandwich and what they're bringing in and where they're sourcing their new ambulance that's coming in, just as a point of reference, because we do have we are developing a close relationship with them, just food for thought.
yeah,
Sorry about that, Commissioner.
no, that's good point. Commissioner Zace, could you repeat your question, sir?
I have heard people talk about that in some fire departments, they have taken to equipping one of the engines as a not a primary ambulance, but as a potential backup ambulance kind of thing for runs where there's overlap and so forth. So I was just wondering whether you had a position on that, or given it any thought, whether it's even feasible given the nature of your business and so forth. So I just, since we were talking about ambulances, I just thought I'd mention
Yeah,
that.
well, from the transport capability, nothing that we have is equipped or could be retrofitted for anything like that. But certainly for the EMS equipment and the ability to have access to that on a first responder basis while waiting for either our ambulance or ambulances to arrive or mutual aid ambulance to arrive. Yeah, that is all definitely worthwhile equipment to have on a fire engine. So,
Okay, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I
Do
get
we
the-
currently have that kind of I'm sorry, Adam, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I understand the transport, but
Oh, yeah.
Do we currently have some EMS level equipment regularly carried in your vehicle or the deputy's vehicle?
There is in my vehicle, BLS equipment in my vehicle, and I don't know what's in the deputy's vehicle right now, but like as in at this very moment, but once we do have that position filled, there would be, yes, there would be EMS jump kits and AED type of equipment in there, yeah.
Yeah, I might be wrong, but I thought the deputy's vehicle, current deputy's vehicle did have some EMS equipment in it, because I know we talked about if we didn't have a deputy vehicle where we would carry that, then that would have to be put into a personal vehicle. So again, I'm not positive, but I thought the old deputy's vehicle had that. Just FYI.
Okay, yeah, yeah, it was certainly will once it's regularly staffed, if you will, 100% it'll have that first responder equipment in it. And we have a deputy to use it.
great.
To get back to the starting point of this, what I wanted to get your both input and approval for is to go forward with requesting the monies in a warrant for the coming fiscal year to use toward a new ambulance. Keep in mind, just as we found last year when we got an authorization for money to help equip a second ambulance, which we haven't touched yet because that deal hasn't come to fruition yet, although we're making good progress on it. Similarly, with this warrant, we would want to have the money authorized so that we could move forward with the researching. And that researching would include the question of leasing. Now, if things were to substantially change before the annual district meeting, the warrant could always be rescinded. If they were to change in the next fiscal year, the warrant can also be slated to be rescinded. I forget what Ray's term for that is when we basically give it up. But I would prefer to have it authorized and able to go forward as we look at options like that.
Yeah, so Rick, I think the sooner we move forward with it, with the authorization, the better off we are. I know of other departments that have trouble getting access to equipment that they've ordered because it's just, there's a hold on things. So the sooner we get authorization, the sooner we make some decisions, the sooner we get the order in place, the better off the village will be, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're all on record expressing our concern and desire about this issue and desire to evolve from our current status to something better. So absolutely have my support for that.
Great. Ray, the treasurer is logged in here and has his hand up. Can we link over to him and?
All I was going to say, is that once that warrant is passed from 7-1 on, you're authorized to move on that. In terms of the funding, that's another question. I've run a study that says that if I borrow the money for the two vehicles in the capital plan this year and save that money in free cash going forward, I've got more capital the following year. So it may make more sense. I saved several $1,000s in interest. In terms of leases, and I came in late on the conversation, leases usually don't make any sense unless you're a taxable entity. The interest on a lease is usually well in excess of what we can get in the municipal market.
Good information. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah, thank you.
So we are in agreement that we would like this warrant to be presented and that to whatever extent that passes over to Ray, if you can capture monies in advance of the next fiscal year at a better interest rate, hallelujah, go for it. Just to put a ribbon on that, we brought the budget in, the proposed budget for next year at 2,258,729 for a total increase of 3.1%. With this capital request added into the budget, the overall increase is in the neighborhood of 13%. So when we are talking with folks about it, keep in mind that we have managed to bring our annual budget at 3.1%. I think that's an excellent job. As to capital stuff, we don't have a lot of control over the price of things.
Yeah, I would hope that if I ever had a conversation like that, I'd say you're mixing apples and oranges. You can't really put that into fruit salad and call it the same thing. It's just that's sort of intellectually lazy as a point of analysis. But I might say it a little nicer than that. But
well, we have had occasion where we heard intellectually lazy criticisms. So I just want to be prepared.
yeah, well,
I concur.
Capital request, second ambulance, budget. I've got a whole lot of check marks on my agenda. Chief, did we miss anything that you and I had discussed?
Let's see. Don't believe so. We're continuing to work with Sandwich on the ambulance. But other than that, I don't believe there was anything else.
Either of you fellows have anything that we've overlooked?
no, I just Chief, I'm sure it was a hell of a first week. So welcome. We're glad to have you.
Indeed. I'll second that motion. Okay.
Thank
In the
you.
absence of further business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, in favor, Pisano.
Hold on a second. Is Chief, are you saying something up there?
No, Lisa was just helping me with
Okay.
caring for the upload and ensuring that there's no additional comments, which there are not
Got it.
in the chat.
Oh, that's right. I forgot to do the second public comment, but there aren't any.
Correct. Nothing in the chat and nothing in the email, so.
Excellent.
Second,
All in favor, Pisano.
Conley.
Thanks.
Great
Meeting is
job, Chief.
adjourned.
Good job, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
all very
Thanks,
much.
Chief.
Thank you.
So
Thanks, Lisa.
you're going to stop the recording first. Yes.